Guys can hear me good? Okay. Thanks. Let's go to the charts real quick. I like to start out the week. I look at the weekly charts. So here's a weekly S&P. Still all systems go. Kind of hanging at those all-time highs here. All right, 4 hour. One hour. $30-minute. Those red lines are the start of the trading day. Kind of bounced off that band. We're kind of coming in a little bit. And the 5-minute, a little bit extended. NASDAQ, pretty similar. Daily, 4 hour, a little bit stronger. That's usually bullish, actually. Daily, we've had that bounce on crude oil. Today, we've got a little bit of it's a 4 hour, just had a spike up recently. Kind of running out of steam up here. Definitely extend on the 15-minute and 5-minute. And the dollar's been getting hit lately. Here's a daily. This is the US dollar versus the yen. So when a dollar's going down, this was on the Fed day, and then now we're testing those lows again. So since oil is priced in dollars, that's given it its boost today. This is a spread chart with oil. This is the dollar. So you could see this was a kind of a support, this candle afterwards, and we just broke that. So oil's been kind of hanging in there. Go to 5-minute. Two trades so far. The first one won't show up on here because it didn't hit this. So let me pull up. I have to pull up the S&P contract. We'll put it up here. So what I'll show you guys today is from the idea of a market making perspective. So you could see how this is, and it's pretty pretty narrow range, but we'll just be shooting to make a tick or two on the S&P. But basically looking at what you want to do is follow the range. That's a 1 minute chart, and then here's a 5 minute. See, we're coming in a little bit. So the old school market makers and then guys that were in the pit, what they would look to do is to kind of put in zones or levels that they'd be interested in buying. Like when I'm looking at my chart, like we're right now, the midpoint's at 103. So what I like to do is maybe say, I like to start accumulating because it just came down. I'm going to just start to watch it. So you want to do is build up positions and cost basis. And this is where you'll start to see how the first company that came out with this type of quote unquote ladder was Trading Technology. So now it's actually better to do short-term trading like this in a slower time. When things start getting moving pretty good, then it's not necessarily the best thing to do. I think it's kind of holding, so I'm going to move this up. So what I'm doing is looking for levels and then where I can buy in. You basically have a number of units. I'll just say that I want to do 3 units, so I'm already offering it out. I bought at 350. I'll take another one at 3. And so what you ultimately want to do is get with the ebb and flow of the market. I kind of feel like the market's going to go more, but so you kind of have this, you cast a net. Now it seems to start falling apart. So what you'll do is keep coming back and forth. And you'll start to see if the market's going to turn or not here. I'll just book a profit here when it blows through it. So you can see there's 329 contracts there. I'm somewhere in there in line. So if I clicked it, I might be number 100. So as soon as you see 100 go by here, I'll get filled. And that's really how the order book works. And there we go. Now I'm filled. Now it's going to go higher. I don't care. I just made a pretty low risk trade to make 2 ticks. Now there's guys that do that 50 times a day. So if you make, obviously you're not going to win every time, but the way you look at it, that you want to keep. Now if it comes back down, I'll take 350 all day again. So just the natural motion and noise of the market is bouncing around in a 1-point range. And then you'll start to see like this ebb and flow of the market. Although I see the NASDAQ coming in, so S&P is definitely stronger because of crude. I'll be a little bit more, you kind of have to let it give its range, and then it makes moves to bigger ranges. You almost need a 1 minute up. I'll put the 1 minute up. So we're right on this band here, but on the 5 minute we're kind of up in the higher area, so we'll see. Crude's coming in a little bit too. I still don't mind because we're on a 1 minute bottom band that don't mind picking it up again. At that level. There's 30 left. I'm still in there. Now we might make a push to the next level lower. We'll see. So ultimately what you start to do is accumulate positions. But this is what basically the pit guys would do back in the quote-unquote day when they would manually be trading hand signals. So a guy would buy, he knew he could lean on levels. He knew he could look across the pit and see a guy was trading, you know, that maybe Bear Stearns or Merrill was sitting there and they were 100 bid at 3, which would, you know, that's kind of, you just use the number 3. And so, yeah, it looks like it's turning. So he knew he could buy 10 contracts, and the max loss if he bought 10 at 375, he was risking 3 ticks because he can go and turn to the guy at Bear that had 100 up that he's bidding for. So they can lean on that, knowing that it's $125 a tick on a 10 lot. So, but if it starts to turn and ramp, then okay, so now I just got taken out of my bid. So you could see how I'm going to follow it up. I really think it's because it's holding on that gold band. It could rally even more, so I wouldn't mind holding it or having the 2 lot on. So you'd work into a position and then keep holding it. You know what? I'll just keep buying it back. The natural noise. I don't think I'll get that because it's getting more bullish. So, but the natural noise of the market is gets you in and out of those trades. If anyone has questions, feel free to put it up there. Andrew's on travel day, so kind of like once you start getting into these bands or zones, now this is there's 800 contracts there. What you'd want to do is eventually have positions in that if it were to get up there, you're pretty close to front in line, so it's a pretty good spot. But you start to see where now I'm being less aggressive. I can get more aggressive in there and get into positions and just make 1 tick, which I think I can do. So if it down ticks and fills me, great. If it doesn't, oh well, I missed it. Doesn't matter. You just have to be very cognizant of your price levels. I don't like because it's coming off this band. It could go to the midpoint, so we'll see. Kind of see how it fills, backs and fills. Now, as soon as it gets filled, I'll be short. Oh, didn't get filled. I thought usually it upticks and then you get filled, and I'll slide my bid up. I feel like I can make an easy tick right here. Go like this. One or the other is going to hit, right? I'd like to sell it to hit first, but didn't do it. Now, there's the other strategy if you have to either be, which I'll do in a little bit. Need to get a couple more trades on here with this. So I sold 475 on bid at 25, making 2 ticks. It is more bullish, so you know, we're coming off this band. Let's go to 5 minute. We can have a little sell off here. It's kind of a tough spot when you're on one time frame higher. Okay, there, now I'm filled on another one. So that's, you make two, you make two, you make two. Now I'm going to let it kind of play out. I think it should go back down to that lower level. So you might start getting the gist of it. Right, no OCOs. Heck no. Because you'd have, if I did it with OCOs, then it got filled, you'd have all these limits all over the place. And I mean, you're literally the computer at this point. So this is the kind of strategy that you can't, with OCOs, you really can't do that. Go back and test that lower area. Although it seems like it can push lower if you look on a 5 minute. I need to put a 5 minute S&P up. Not that one. Not that one. Get rid of that. So you could see where we're holding in that area. But the NASDAQ seems to be coming down a little bit more. So what you see, even with the bands, the band is just giving me a statistical probability where we're going to be in the next, it's a 5 minutes, so the next, I don't know, 5 bars. So where midpoint is right here. So we could press to the lower level, but as long as we hold this, we're fine, which is that recent low. So even right here, I think 350. Kind of did a test and it held, so we'll see here. Starting to turn a little bit, so I'm adding. You don't necessarily want to chase it, but sometimes it gets in a zone. If it's going to break out, then you want to just get exposure on. Yeah, I was too slow on that. So now it's breaking out. It extended through that zone, could come back. Looks like it can go take that high out. Kind of just bouncing in this range. Usually when something breaks out like here, it broke out, you would expect it to really run if it's super bullish. Now this is a 1 minute chart, so we can be a little more patient, but it definitely seems like it's wants to test the high. So this is where it shows the high. There's no trades above that. So when you look at the market profile, I'm going to stretch this out. This is the maximum volume for today in this area. You could see 22,000 contracts just traded at this tick size alone. This is your tail. You could see small, less than 1,000 contracts. It's narrow, or a couple thousand contracts here. So that's your tail. If you think about a normal distribution of a bell curve, here's the belly, here's the lower tail, and what's missing? The upper tail. Now, it doesn't mean it has to trade and make an upper tail, but statistically speaking, it's a pretty good possibility that it does do that. All right, I'm going to shorten this up a little bit. And take a look if we're just bouncing back and forth in a range. See if it down ticks more. So what happens is you get to a point where you can sometimes get, if you get in, like there's guys that will be doing this and they could be like, let's say bidding this here, and they get in the bid, and let's say there's 200 contracts up here, but they're number 12 and 12 lots get hit and they buy with 200 left. And then all of a sudden it says 400, then it says 800, and then the market starts to take off to the upside. If they were long, they never took any heat. They always had a bid to lean on. And that's typically what they did. See, it seems like it can go higher. I might actually scratch this. Break even, you lose a couple bucks commission, who cares? If it takes off to the upside. So that's just a scratch. Better than losing, right? Feels like it wants to take that high out, but the Nasdaq's kind of running in this trouble over here. I'm going to wait for it to get to a good zone, and then I'm going to start doing a different strategy that Andrew and I have talked about, that it's especially for newer traders. It's a good thing to either, obviously in a demo, because it's very could be harrowing, the feel of being always in a trade. Yeah, this, when you have this up, that's left and right, so I can put, let me see if it, I think you can change, yeah, so right clicking, it does 2, so you can offer 2, oh shoot, nope, wrong spot. So I can offer 2 and bid 1. So that's left click and right click. Kind of jumped the gun and get out of that one trade, but it seemed like it was going to test the high. Can you take long and short at the same time? Well, I'm bidding it and I'm offering it, but I'm not actually in the market. Now that takes up margin, so your max you can do is 5. You can only put 5 orders out there. But sometimes I do that. I don't mind if it spikes up and hits that. I might get 1, I might get 4, whatever it takes. Okay, I'll just hit cancel. So you can see it's kind of slow moving. It's only at a 1-point range. That's why when Andrew and I will talk about, oh, there's no movement, especially in the S&P, it can't get like that, but there are actually strategies that you can do. No, these are not sent to the room. I'm just doing this on the ladder. So the idea is that you can be able to make money in a quiet market like that. Kind of looks like it's going to trickle a little bit lower, but especially sometimes the with the Nasdaq and how crude works out too. So you can go back to that level. Slow and steady. Now, you could do this on crude, but as we know, crude is can get a little bit nutty. Probably gonna get filled. Seems like a bigger down move's coming based on the Nasdaq. So we'll see how that. So I'm looking at the 5-minute. I don't know. S&P for some reason is strong. See how that keeps refreshing? It goes down to less than 100 and now it's back up to 200. So there's a large order right now buying a ton. See, now it's up to 400. I'm not even going to get filled. So that's the whole idea that you only see X number of contracts here, but there was a large order hidden there. So they'd buy 100 and then buy 100 and then buy 100 and buy 100 and 100, 100 and they'd keep buying. And then everyone's like, oh my God. And they turn around and now they're buying. If you're short, you're covering. Now, if someone was paying attention to what that is, there's algos that actually figure that out. They can take the number of contracts traded and say, well, someone just bought 10,000 contracts long, so it's kind of a line in the sand that they want this market to go higher. Now we're hitting it again. Let's see what happens. Some bear might want to come in and just completely sell it. I can't believe I'm not getting filled. If this was live, I would have gotten filled because I know I'm way. It went down to 80 and then refreshed, so I was within the top 80 and it definitely traded there. So I would have been filled at that 375. So we'll see if it comes around again. Now I'm going to get filled this time, and you won't want it, right? Which is typically, you're at levels. He made that. I'm going to put that out right away, but I think this is going to make a bigger down move. But I think I will try and work into a position. You see how crude broke down? I don't want that. If it does happen to spike down again, I'm assuming that this gold band holds. I'll buy 2 more. As soon as it gets filled, I want to offer some out. Guess I can't get any. You like to make 2 ticks, but I feel like that there's a little bit of downside momentum coming now, so if I can make 1 tick, that's fine. Money's money, right? Slowly turning. Might be better to show us the NASDAQ since it moves a little more. Granted, the ticks are tiny, but I need more movement typically, so we'll see on the NASDAQ. With the S&P here. Here's the NASDAQ 1 minute. All right, we'll put 5 minutes so it's the same. Five minute on the left, 1 minute on the right. NASDAQ seems to be turning. I'll buy back in. To me, it seems like the market's turning, but S&P now is weak. It's kind of hanging in that zone. Now I'm just looking for a downtick just to get me filled. Okay. Offer back out. I'll get out of this S&P. It's put me to sleep. Trying to see if I can get it down. If it makes another push down here, what it does is it's going to test that low. You know, I'm looking at this 5 minute. It seems just a little heavier, so let's step aside here. Let's get the 1 minute up. So a bigger push. Let's put this here. So you want to step aside on those kind of moves, and then now it seems like it's hanging in there. I want some noise now. Just the natural noise of the market could get me for 1 or 2 contracts. Touched it, and then looks like it's gonna take off. Maybe too eager beaver. Hanging in this range of 46.75 would be that. If it's going to get going, I might press it. Doesn't seem like it yet. I like a better cost basis, though. So sell it, and then I definitely want a better cost basis. Now, this pattern, it's kind of hanging in there. If it breaks out above 9.25, it's kind of gone. So I got to buy it. Got to pay up for it. Confirm the breakout out. If I can get noise, get another one on. It's just kind of hanging out. So it's going to back and fill, but as long as it keeps above that. Now I'm going to let this, I didn't offer it out because I feel like this is, it's turning on the 5-minute, it's holding at the midpoint. We've got a little spike up. I'll take 51s. Why be greedy? I'll take 75s. So now it could definitely spike up to this top. But you could always get back in. So I sold 51s. I'll buy back if it comes back in. Selling it, I'm not so sure because you got a 5-minute turn coming on mine. So but this is the idea when we talk about risk reward, why we put 5 or 10 or whatever we put in as our profit target. You start to see how, yeah, I got in, I got out, I was flat, but then I'm like, it's definitely going to go. So you enter, but then you have to just offer out to make money. You have to, at some point, whenever you buy, you have to have a sell. And so the point of it is that when you do sell, you actually realize those gains. If you don't sell, you never realize it. And let's just say from a coin flip like we've been talking about, if you flip a coin, 50-50 shot, heads or tails, same thing here. You can flip a coin, buy or sell, right? Okay, I'm buying. Now you have to sell it. There's still an exit strategy and what you have to do to get out. So you can't just buy it and hope for the best. You have to be equally as aggressive on your entry and your exit. It's all statistics, really. You could see how where I got out, now it's coming back in to my entry price. If I would have held on, then what? Now, don't get me wrong. I think it might probably go higher, but you've booked it. You've booked the profit. I'll buy it back in at 49. Let's just see how it trades because it's kind of bearish now. But still, I'll take that. Hopefully I wasn't a little too early. You'd like to see it start to uptick, actually. I was a little early. I'm one-lotting it, but it gets pretty intense if you're doing 5s and 10s. But you could see it's actually a lower risk strategy. How much are you in the market for? Like right now I'm leaning on you just keep ticking away. Tick, tick, tick. Now the professional guys that do that, there's still guys that do this. You know, probably if you're doing this as a profession, you're trading 10 lots, you're up $600. I've been doing this for 45 minutes, not even, probably more like really aggressively at half an hour. So they'll sit there, they'll probably do it good 2-3 hour shift on the open. I mean, if I was doing this on the open, I would have probably caught some of these moves. So then you're in the market more. And then you can see it's a pretty low risk strategy. Just keep ticking away. And then eventually you've got a daily goal. When you hit it, you're done. You want to make $1,000, great, or 20 grand a month, and you're gone. There's guys that were like that. They hit their goal, and then sometimes they'd be in the 10:30 a.m. train. Just, I'm out of here. So here comes the bounce again. That's prime case. I mean, I got in, got out, could have got back. I got back in, and actually a tick better than my original price. And I just got out and made a tick, but you can definitely get your cost. When I say cost basis, that's if you bought here, you made, I think, 2 points. What was it? 50. 2 points. You're back in. You can risk 2 points. The downside is your stop, but now you've made 2 more. Kind of starts to add up. Seems like with the 5 minute going though, it's looking a lot better. You also get the ebb and flow of the market. So rallies, sells off, rallies, sells off, rallies, it's going to sell off with the Bollinger. I'll start trading bigger size. A little late. I mean, it takes a lot of concentration. You have to really be fast. That's why they made the ladder. Guys did this. Thousands of them in trading offices. They're still out there. Sometimes you want impulse moves, sometimes you don't. And filled. Seems like it wants to really blast off, but got to get in the game. Patience. It's definitely a waiting game for this. Not going to get it. One more time. You know you want to test back up there. Now see, it traded at 52, but I didn't get filled. It actually means it's weaker. The 5 minute looks more bullish though. Seems like every time it gets to that level. So typically what happens is it'll blast through it. Still won't do it. Make a tick, tick tock. I actually want to get long, looking at a longer term chart, but okay. No, this is just in the room. You're hearing the lasers in the room only. The second yellow area on the NASDAQ below the current price. This is the same as that market profile, but it's really thin with the NASDAQ. You can barely see it. You can see the numbers though. This belly is here, and there's a little upper tail. So that's the open. That's the opening price or closing, however you want to look at it. The moving yellow bar indicates the current price action. What does the stationary yellow bar? I guess you're assuming that yellow, that over here. I have created, so someone has to utilize this for, could you utilize the app? Not really. Although I do want to make it into a market making type. So you can do buy or sell. I wanted to add in my own, both OCOs, and then so you could just trade off this and not the ladder for manual trading. You could see on here I've added in the pause, so you can just pick your markets in the future, next upgrade. I have created an app that, or a trading system that actually trades this style automated. And we will definitely roll that out at some point. Too slow. Way too slow. Sometimes it's just going to go. You got to almost just pay up for it, but maybe it'll come back to the breakout number. Now I want to sell it more than buy it, but nope. Another push here. It should get filled. And there's another 2 ticks. So you could see how that's a kind of trade, I don't know, was about a couple seconds. Pretty low risk. Now, you know, like I said, you're trading 10 lots, you're up $750 in less than an hour. Beats the day job, right? Actually, trading is the hardest thing on the planet, I think. So seems easy, but then there's all kinds of different things that happen on the periphery. So, and you got a lot of people competing for you. But once you get the hang of it, it's really pretty interesting and pretty rewarding. I'm just quick on a tick because it, to me, on the 5 minute, just seems like it wants to keep pushing higher. So that's why I got in and got out. I'll take the next level higher, see if it can break out here. Kind of want to make mental value areas. Yeah, crude's going now, so I could see it pushing higher. So between the S&P 75 and NASDAQ, I guess you're up 1,400 if you're trading 10 lots between the two markets. And you just keep plodding along. I just go for 2. Tick tock. So that's a pretty good bouncing around. Looks like it's just chopping. Oh, there goes crude. Decent push higher. The key with this is you just want to stay out of trouble. You don't want to get caught on a bigger move. Definitely seems to be basing, so it wants to get going to the upside. Yeah, you could see how it's just trickling higher. You see that S&P, it's basically 2-point range the whole hour. So that's kind of the sleepiness of it. So we'll see if it comes in the last couple minutes here. See any more questions? Um, yeah, I mean, it's basically called, it's more market making, tick making. Usually they're much more aggressive on it. My style is a little less, so that's pretty much depending on whatever you can get your levels at. So we'll have this come back down. We'll get back out to sending regular trades. Up about 160 in those two combined. So it's definitely a strategy that's doable. I do have an automated program that does that, but we'll get back at it. All right, we'll see you on the wrap-up call, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.